Welcome back to Pulse of the Planet, bringing you the latest news from around the world. For over a century, the Panama Canal has stood as the world's most vital maritime shortcut, a marvel of engineering that transformed global trade routes and connected distant continents. By linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, the canal has powered global commerce, enabling ships to bypass the long, perilous journey around South America's Cape Horn and saving weeks of travel time. But in 2023 and 2024, a historic drought exposed a critical vulnerability. Gatun Lake, the canal's essential freshwater source, dropped to record lows, forcing authorities to impose drastic restrictions on ship traffic. The canal, once a symbol of reliability, suddenly faced an unprecedented crisis. Ship transits were slashed, creating massive bottlenecks as vessels lined up for days, waiting for their turn to pass through the shrinking waterway. Shipping costs soared as vessels either waited in long queues or were forced to reroute thousands of miles, burning extra fuel and adding delays that rippled across the globe. The crisis shattered confidence in the canal's reliability, revealing how climate change can disrupt even the most trusted infrastructure and threaten the flow of goods that modern economies depend on. Suddenly, the world's supply chains faced a new reality. The canal's capacity is no longer guaranteed, and the consequences of disruption are felt everywhere, from factories to store shelves. This shock has forced nations and companies to urgently seek alternatives, exposing the risks of relying on a single, climate-vulnerable artery for so much of the world's trade. Against this backdrop, Nicaragua, Panama's northern neighbor, has stepped forward, reviving a historic ambition to build a rival canal that could one day reshape global trade and offer a new path between the oceans. As Panama's troubles deepened, Nicaragua seized the moment to resurrect its own canal dream. In November 2024, President Daniel Ortega announced the revival of the Nicaraguan Canal project at a major China-Latin America summit, unveiling a powerful new partnership. The timing was strategic. With global shipping desperate for alternatives, Nicaragua positioned its canal as the answer to Panama's fragility. This time the government promised a more transparent, credible approach, officially revoking the failed previous concession and signaling a fresh start. For Nicaragua, the canal is more than logistics. It's a bid for economic independence, global relevance, and a bold partnership with China. The country is betting that this monumental project can transform its fortunes and alter the strategic map of Central America. The new Nicaraguan Canal Plan is nothing short of audacious. It's a project that aims to reshape not just Nicaragua but the entire landscape of global trade. The vision is bold and the stakes are high. The proposed canal will stretch 445 kilometers, cutting a path from a brand new deepwater port at Bluefields on the Caribbean coast, all the way to Puerto Corinto on the Pacific. This route would create a vital new artery for international shipping, rivaling the Panama Canal and promising to transform Nicaragua into a key player in maritime logistics. Importantly, the canal's path avoids the ecologically sensitive Lake Chokepoints, which was a major sticking point for environmentalists in previous proposals. Instead, it will pass through the smaller Lake Solotland, a move designed to minimize environmental damage and address the concerns of local communities and activists. The cost of this mega project? An eye-watering $50 billion. This figure covers not just the canal itself but also the construction of new ports, the creation of free trade zones, and the development of extensive supporting infrastructure, roads, bridges, and more. It's a price tag that reflects both the scale and the ambition of the undertaking. This time, China is not just a silent partner. It's at the very center of the action, shaping the project from the ground up. KMC Engineering, a massive state-owned Chinese firm, has officially signed on to build the Bluefields port. Their involvement brings not only technical expertise and financial muscle, but also a sense of credibility that previous attempts lacked. Unlike the enigmatic HKND Group, which led the last failed canal effort and left many questions unanswered, KMC's participation signals a clear and direct interest from Beijing itself. This is no longer a speculative venture, it's a strategic move by a global superpower. For China, the Nicaraguan Canal fits seamlessly into its Belt and Road initiative, offering a direct, non-US controlled route for the movement of goods, energy, and resources. It's a way to bypass choke points and assert greater influence over global shipping lanes. By backing this project, China secures a powerful foothold in Central America, right in the United States' traditional sphere of influence. It's a new lever in the ever-shifting game of global trade and geopolitics. the Nicaraguan Canal is no longer just a national dream. It's become a high-stakes piece in the global chess match between superpowers, with the potential to reshape the future of international commerce. The idea of a Nicaraguan canal is centuries old, once favored by the US before Panama won out through political intrigue and clever lobbying. In the 19th century, Nicaragua was the leading candidate for a trans-oceanic canal, but a campaign highlighting its volcanic risks shifted US support to Panama. The dream resurfaced in 2013, when President Ortega granted a 50-year concession to the obscure HKND group, led by Chinese billionaire Wang Jing. Promising to outdo Panama, the project quickly became mired in secrecy, protests, and environmental fears, especially over Lake Chokepoints. The venture collapsed amid funding shortfalls and public outrage, leaving only broken promises and deep skepticism. In 2024, Nicaragua revoked HKND's rights, clearing the way for a new attempt. But the ghosts of past failures still haunt the project. The new canal must prove it's more than just another illusion. For Nicaragua, the canal is a shot at national transformation. Supporters claim construction could create tens of thousands of jobs, injecting life into an economy plagued by poverty and unemployment. Long-term canal tolls and new free trade zones could generate massive revenue, funding public services and lifting living standards. The project aims to make Nicaragua a global logistics hub, able to handle the world's largest ships, surpassing Panama's capacity. Ending Panama's monopoly would give Nicaragua strategic leverage over global shipping routes. The canal is also a symbol, a break from a troubled past and a leap toward economic sovereignty. For many, it's the ultimate national project, one that could finally unlock Nicaragua's geographic potential. But the canal is a colossal gamble, fraught with risk. The $50 billion cost dwarfs Nicaragua's economy, and no clear financing plan has been revealed, raising fears of unsustainable debt, especially with China as the main backer. Environmental risks remain severe. Dredging through Lake Solotlan and vast tracts of land threatens ecosystems, water quality, and local communities. No independent environmental assessment has been done, fueling fears that nature will be sacrificed for profit. Politically, President Ortega's authoritarian rule and human rights record could deter Western investors and limit transparency. Without oversight, corruption and self-enrichment are real dangers, and the benefits may not reach ordinary Nicaraguans. The canal must also compete with the established Panama Canal, which could recover and retain its dominance. If shipping demand falters or costs spiral, Nicaragua could be left with a half-finished ditch and a mountain of debt. Nicaragua's canal faces fierce competition from regional rivals. Mexico's $50 billion Isthmus of Tehuantepec corridor, backed by China, offers a land bridge with high-speed rail and modern ports, potentially faster and less destructive than a new canal. The Mexican project is already underway, giving it a head start and a compelling value proposition for shippers. Colombia is exploring its own dry canal, and the US boasts powerful cross-country rail networks that already serve as land bridges for high-value goods. This crowded field means Nicaragua must prove its canal is not just feasible, but superior to these alternatives. The race is on. Whichever project delivers first and best could dominate regional trade, leaving the others behind. For Nicaragua, the stakes couldn't be higher. The Nicaraguan Canal is more than just an engineering feat. It's a bold statement on the world stage, a project that has captured the attention of global powers and regional players alike. It's a flashpoint in the intensifying global rivalry between the United States and China, two superpowers vying for influence in every corner of the globe. For over a century, the US has dominated Central America, shaping its politics, economy, and security landscape to serve its own interests. But now, a Chinese-backed canal challenges that established order, introducing a new player with deep pockets and global ambitions. The project signals Beijing's growing influence in Latin America, as China seeks to expand its economic and strategic reach far beyond Asia. The US now faces a dilemma: how to respond to this challenge without further destabilizing a region already wary of foreign intervention. Should it oppose the project and risk alienating the region, fueling anti-American sentiment and pushing allies closer to China, or accept a Chinese-controlled waterway in its own strategic backyard, potentially undermining its influence over critical trade routes? For China, the canal is a masterstroke, securing vital trade routes, bypassing US influence, and projecting power into the Western Hemisphere. It offers an alternative to Western-led institutions, giving smaller nations new options and shifting the balance of economic power. Yet the project's fate may hinge less on economics or engineering than on the unpredictable shifting tides of global power and diplomacy. Will the canal become a symbol of international cooperation and shared prosperity, bringing nations together through commerce? Or will it end up as another casualty of geopolitical rivalry, stalled by practical hurdles and clashing interests? The world is watching closely as Nicaragua gambles its future on this ambitious project. A canal that could reshape not just the flow of global trade, but the very balance of power in the Americas for generations to come.